The Acolyte Season 1 has finally wrapped up. It was a great season. I really enjoyed it. It left me with a lot of questions, and whether or not we get a Season 2, this story's definitely not over. They're definitely going to continue, whether it's a Season 2, a comic series, or a series of novels. It's for sure going to happen. So I just wanted to talk about my theory with Qimir and as to what I think is going on with that character and the future of that character, the potential end of that character. So there's a lot of theories out there, like potentially Qimir is Darth Venomous, who I don't know the full story behind that. That is Legends continuity. It could be an adaptation of that. It has something to do with having Darth Tenebrous, Darth Plagueis as his apprentice, and then Darth Venomous being kind of like a secret apprentice kind of deal because he wanted two successors or one successor and he didn't know who's going to be more powerful, whatever, yada yada. It breaks the rule of two. I don't really mind. The rule of two is broken a lot anyway. I don't think it's that. I don't think that Qimir is going to be the creator of the Knights of Ren, though it's very possible. That would probably be the leading theory because they do want to tie a lot into the sequels and kind of get these foundations going for what eventually happens in the sequels, which I'm fine with. But I don't think it's going to be that either. I think, simple terms, Qimir wants to be his own guy, and he just wants an apprentice and maybe get revenge on his former master being confirmed to be Vernestra Rwoh, who we see land on Brendock in the finale, and she senses Qimir and says, you're alive. So she knows now that he's alive. He knows that she knows. There's a conflict there in the future for sure coming. Qimir obviously knows about the Sith because he can recite their tenets. Now, that could just be him finding a holocron or finding some sort of ancient text or whatever that have to do with the Sith. And he knows of the rule of two, but he calls it the power of two, same thing. He probably just wants to have that for himself without getting involved with the actual Sith at play during this time period, who are part of that Bane lineage, the Darth Bane lineage of the rule of two, which we know Darth Plagueis is part of at this time period. Plagueis could be the master, he could be the apprentice. We don't know. This is the canon version. This isn't Legends, so Plagueis' age is obviously changed to fit into the narrative they're trying to tell. So here's my theory. I think Qimir is going to build up a presence in the galaxy as a Jedi killer. He wants to get Vernestra. He wants to lure out Vernestra. That's kind of his whole goal. And this is very similar to something we saw in the Clone Wars. If you guys don't know, here's a quick recap. Darth Maul essentially became a presence in the galaxy in the Clone Wars when he took over Mandalore. So much so that Palpatine was sensing that this power, this like dark power was rising in the galaxy, and it's not him. So he went himself to Mandalore during a whole battle that was going on there. He pulled up to the throne room. He fucking destroyed Maul. He killed Maul's brother and he took Maul captive. And then it's later covered in the comics how Maul broke out. But he pulled up himself. Darth Sidious, two lightsabers in hand, walked in and annihilated the two brothers because they were becoming a threat. They were becoming a rival to them. How does that relate to the Acolyte and Qimir and Plagueis and the whole story that's going on here? Well, I think Qimir isn't going to build an empire, an underworld empire kind of thing. I don't think so. I don't think he's going to take over a planet. I just think he's going to establish himself so much as the known Jedi killer. He's running around with the red lightsaber and everything with an apprentice. The Sith know about him already. Plagueis is already stalking him. I think eventually, at the end of this character's arc, probably Plagueis, since they teased him, is going to show up and he's going to kill Qimir. Now, I know we all want a Qimir versus Vernestra fight now that it's confirmed that they are master and apprentice, and she said, that was my pupil before he turned to evil. I think we're still going to get that fight, and probably maybe during that fight is when Plagueis pulls up, and then they have to work together again for the first time in however long to fight Plagueis, only to lose inevitably because obviously the Sith still have to be kind of hidden and not known about until later. And we know how the Jedi are during this time period. They're full of conspiracies and cover ups. So if Plagueis kills Vernestra and Qimir and potentially Osha, May, or both, or whatever, they're going to cover it up with this known Jedi killer died in combat while fighting Vernestra, and he managed to kill her at the end too. Like, they basically traded blows, they died, whatever. Cover up, slide under the rug. We know how the Jedi are intertwined with the Senate. They're very political at this time. They report to the Senate everything. Whether or not they cover it up is a different story. But everything eventually goes back to the Senate and the Chancellor at the time, which I think all these conspiracies, all these fights and cover ups and everything the Jedi are doing does weaken them by the point of the prequels where they just become straight up war generals and we know what happens there. So that was just kind of my quick 2 cents. I think Qimir, again, quick recap. He's going to build a presence. He's going to kill a lot more Jedi. He's going to get into a fight with Vernestra. And Plagueis is going to have to show up because this dude is a problem. Maybe he kills Vernestra, and after he kills Vernestra, he has to fight Plagueis. That sounds a little better, maybe. But I like the idea of them fighting together for the first time in however long to get rid of this big threat, but the big threat takes them both out. That's my theory. That's what I think is going to happen with Qimir. I'm not 100% sure of how Osha and May would fit into it. Maybe they get out in time. Maybe Plagueis reveals some crazy truth to them, like I'm the one that created you, or I helped your mothers create you using the virgins on Brendock. Who knows? That's a whole other topic for another story, another day. I just wanted to kind of yap about what I think is going to happen with one of my favorite additions to Star Wars being Qimir. That's about it. See ya.